Friends, gather round because things are about to get spicy. Remember our old pal, Donald Trump, and his penchant for a good old-fashioned trade war? Well, buckle up because he's at it again. This time, he's slapped tariffs on our neighbors to the north and south, Canada and Mexico. That's right, folks, the same countries we share a continent with. The same countries that supply us with everything from delicious maple syrup to, well, even more delicious avocados. Trump claims these tariffs are about bringing jobs back to America. He's essentially saying, let's make it more expensive to buy things from Canada and Mexico, so that Americans have no choice but to buy American-made. Sounds great in theory, right? Except, and here's the kicker, it rarely works out that way. This brings us to the heart of the issue. What exactly are tariffs and why should you care? Well, a tariff is basically a tax on imported goods. So, when you slap a tariff on, say, Canadian lumber, it makes that lumber more expensive for American buyers. The idea is that this price hike will encourage people to buy American lumber instead. But as we'll see, it's not quite so simple. Remember when you were a kid and your parents told you not to touch the stove because it was hot? Well, tariffs are kind of like that stove. We've been burned by them before, and yet here we are, back for another round of, let's see what happens when we touch the hot thing. The problem with tariffs is that they rarely achieve their intended goal. Sure, they might give a short-term boost to certain domestic industries, but in the long run, they often lead to higher prices for consumers, retaliation from other countries because nobody likes a bully, not even Canada, and ultimately, economic harm for everyone involved. Now, let's talk about why these tariffs on Canada and Mexico are particularly worrisome. These aren't just some random countries we're slapping with taxes, these are our closest trading partners. We're talking about countries we share a border with, countries whose economies are deeply intertwined with our own. So, when we mess with their exports, we're essentially messing with our own imports, and that, my friends, is a recipe for economic indigestion. Let's get down to brass tacks, shall we? What do these tariffs mean for your wallet? Well, if you enjoy things like fresh produce, beer, or basically anything that isn't made in a factory, you might want to brace yourself. See, Mexico is our biggest supplier of fruits and vegetables. So, when we put tariffs on their goods, guess what happens? The price of your beloved avocados, tomatoes, and yes, even your precious zucchinis is going to go up. But it's not just produce that's going to take a hit. Remember that delicious Canadian bacon you love so much? Well, get ready to pay a premium for it, because tariffs on pork products are about to make your breakfast a lot more expensive. And don't even get me started on beer. Thanks to tariffs on aluminum, which is used to make beer cans, your six-pack is about to get a whole lot pricier. According to some estimates, these tariffs could cost the average American household an extra $1,200 per year. That's right, folks, $1,200, that's like an extra month's worth of avocado toast. Gone. Now, you might be thinking, okay, so my groceries and beer are going to cost a bit more, but it's not the end of the world, right? Well, here's the thing about tariffs. They have a nasty habit of snowballing. See, when we impose tariffs on other countries, they tend to retaliate with tariffs of their own. So now, we're not just talking about more expensive avocados and beer, we're talking about potential job losses in industries that rely on exports to Canada and Mexico. And it doesn't stop there. Higher prices for consumer goods can lead to decreased consumer spending, which can then lead to slower economic growth. It's a vicious cycle, my friends, and it all starts with a seemingly simple tax on imported goods. So, the next time you're at the grocery store and you see the price of your favorite Mexican hot sauce has gone up, remember the tariffs, remember the trade war, and remember that while it might seem like a distant political squabble, it's actually hitting you right where it hurts. Your wallet.